Stephen Lawson, political analyst. Have you seen that yet? You're gonna love it. It's James Garfield, Chester
And
A.
Chester
Arthur.
A. Arthur,
Yeah,
yeah.
which I really didn't know much about assassination. It was 5 stars from both Deborah and me. Death by lightning. You always get 5 stars. So much to talk about. Let's start with the Epstein files, the political impact here in Georgia. First off, the fact that no Republican congressmen releasing the Epstein files. Big sigh of relief from all of the candidates that coming up for re-election, because they didn't want to have to vote no on that, and then see the campaigns ads like, oh, Stephen Lawson voted no to it. So a great, I would imagine a big sigh of relief from Republican congressmen and women in Georgia.
That's right. Stephen Lawson was always a yes for the record. No, look, that was they avoided a massive political firestorm. Only Republicans in a primary situation have been able to hold against them, but also Democrats looking into a general election. Specifically, I'm thinking about the Republican primaries and Congressman Buddy Carter running in that Senate primary to challenge potentially John Ossoff. And they really honestly got a bailout from President Trump. They signaled that it was okay for them to do that. I think it was very politically smart for the president to look. This train has been coming for a long time,
absolutely.
And I think they made the astute political observation: we're going to get on the train of getting run over by it, which was very smart. I'm a little surprised they didn't come to a couple months ago.
Well, I don't think they needed to, because the votes weren't there for the petition to release it, right? They were stuck on 217 for a while. The government was shut down. Speaker Mike Johnson didn't want to do it. But it was those release of emails from the Epstein estate that got the snowball moving again.
It did, but that vote was always coming.
Yeah.
It was coming. But certainly the timing was I guess, a little questionable. But yes, it's a huge, I think, sigh of relief initially for the Trump administration. Put this behind him. Obviously, you mentioned Republicans in Georgia united around releasing the files. It now goes to the Senate, what happens there. And then ultimately, I think there will be some questions from the DOJ. Obviously, Trump has said that they will be looking at Democrats. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up getting released. Those are all questions that are going to be lingering over the next few days.
And what's going to happen, because there is apparently an ongoing investigation right now from the DOJ into Bill Clinton and Larry Summers, the Democrats that were mentioned. Does that give Pam Bondi cover to say, we can't release this, an ongoing investigation? And so everyone pump the brakes. I don't expect a full release of the file time soon. Just putting back on my political consultant hat, looking ahead to the primaries, you mentioned the two been running for the Senate. The ad's not going to have the teeth, because they, both did not vote for petition, right? They weren't one of the 218. I guess that can be used in an ad, but it lacks the punch that if they had voted no on the release of the Epstein file, that would have been a better ad for
100%. And I think they're probably both on the clear on this issue now. And again, right, we'll see if this is conversation. Yeah, I think they've got some cover. I think, obviously, who was probably hoping to use this as a cudgel or leverage race, that sort of got taken away with the president weighing in, and then of course to use this as an issue as well. But I think the pivot now for Republicans is affordability, right? It's got to be this cost of living, because we talked about this massive snowball political firestorm that was the Epstein, another big one, and it's called affordability and cost of living. That is what people are so acutely dialed into right now, and Republicans are going to have to start coming with answers.
Lawson live in studio here on the Mark Arum Show. I think also there should be obviously not here in Georgia. They should be sending thank you notes to Chuck Schumer. He did yesterday procedurally. There were no votes in the Senate. There's consent. So there are no Republican senators that had to vote no. So that's something that they can clear off their docket as well. Obviously none here in Georgia, but senators didn't have to vote no to release the Epstein files. So I think Chuck Schumer inadvertently helped out a lot of Republican senators yesterday by doing this.
So you got to wonder why, right? This is always the age-old question, what really goes on behind the scenes in Washington, D.C., what deals are cut, who's getting what. There's always a deal being cut in Washington, D.C. My guess is 0.9% chance that is what happened here. I would imagine chugging out of this. But yeah, to your point, it's Republicans in the Senate dodged a huge bullet, and they won't have to really face the fire on this issue.
Yeah, again, the breaking news, the bill now has been delivered to the president. We'll see 17 minutes because I'd love to bring that to you live. All right, we got to talk and what's going on with her and the president. Back and forths on social media. She's getting it, which no one ever wants to get. What it seems like her district is behind her. The question is in this new rebranded Marjorie Taylor Greene, what's her political future here in Georgia outside of that congressional?
So many implications of this. I think it's important for everybody to kind of go back in time. Where did this start? Where did this happen? By most of accounts over the summer, Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate here in Georgia. Mm-hmm. The president has...
We talked about
that on the show. The president's team commissioned a poll showing that she would lose by double digits to Jon Ossoff. He shared that with her privately. She did not take that well, by all accounts. And if you go back in time on the timeline, that's sort of where she started to president on the soil that has come into this crescendo that we've seen the last couple of weeks. But certainly, the president coming after her now. She's going back after the president. He's removed his endorsement of her. I don't know that she can be defeated in her district. And so that's the question that a lot of Republicans in the state are asking. Does Trump actually try to challenge her and go after her? I think it would be a tough proposition. It would be very messy. And that leads me into the larger political dynamic of this fight. Does this hurt Republicans writ large across the state, looking at a midterm where Republicans are likely also already going to be facing some uphill challenges and some headwinds? Does this infighting with Marjorie Taylor Greene in a district that is like R plus 30, a huge bastion of Republican votes that are going to be needed to turn out next November, does this fighting, is this a distraction for Republicans? That's going to be something really interesting to watch.
I will just make this observation. If the president and Elon Musk can bury the hatchet after what they went through, I could see a pathway to reconciliation between Marjorie Taylor Greene and President Trump. But I remember when Marjorie Taylor Greene made the announcement, I'm not going to run for Senate, I'm not going to run for governor. You and I both commented, the anger that was probably going on in the Ossoff campaign, like, oh, we wanted it. But fast forward a couple months later, this is a new Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, she's, did The View and CNN, and I bet if you did that poll, she might not beat Ossoff head to head, but I bet it would be a lot closer in this new rebranded MTG.
Maybe. I'm still a little skeptical because voters' memories in Georgia specifically, Mark, as you know, are very long. They remember the things that she's said on a number of issues, very controversial. And I think those would, again, be played in any campaign, right? But I think it's a little different than Elon, mainly because she's not the world's richest person. There were multiple reasons for the president to bury and Elon to bury that hatchet. This is much more vitriolic to me. I hope you're right for Republicans' sake. I'm just a little skeptical. At this point.
Just circling it back to the Epstein files. I mean, Elon. It seems so long ago, but remember when they had their falling out on Twitter, X, he was like, Trump's in the Epstein files, all capital. I mean, it was crazy stuff that, but you're right, he's the world's richest man. He's about to be the first trillionaire, so there's
some incentive.
He was at the, Musk, by the way, was at that state dinner last night with the Saudi crown prince.
The who's who.
Who's probably richer than Elon. We just don't know.
Yeah, it's probably close.
He and Putin are probably,
Yeah.
he, Putin, and Elon are the three richest men. And then Erickson 4, Stephen Lawson is 5. You can find everything that Stephen does. Phenomenal resource, Dentons.com, Dentons.com. Good to see you, my friend.
Always a pleasure, sir.
When we come back, actor Clark Gregg from the